they see in the street. So they haven't been educated on what's going on. All they know is now. But they don't
what do you think about that? I mean, you've been around. You like.
Yeah, I've been around.
Years, I didn't mean like that, but.
There you go, get them again.
Now, when I was saying the blues was this big, I didn't get to finish that. When people are exposed to that little itty bitty teeny tiny thing, this little itty bitty soul and feeling they call the blues, all of a sudden, when they're exposed to it, all of a sudden it is this big. But everybody, you know, but the big media misses all that.
Yeah, it's one of the things media just don't carry it around. But when we get out and people listen to it, it really touches. What reached the heart, you know, touched the heart, you know, come from the heart, it reaches the heart. So,
amen.
If it don't touch it, there ain't no soul in it.
So what was the first blues experience that you had as an individual, as a young person?
I was growing up in it. It was all over me.
But no, the first time, like you said, this is what I gotta. I'm Keith Little. I'm Mr. Keith Little. I gotta do this.
First time, I can't say first time. I'm growing up as a kid or something. I'm crawling around. They still playing it in the background. I go down the street. They on the corner with the door, bro. If I go down next door, my next door neighbor sitting out at night.
Which corner? Which corner? Where were we at?
We're down in the West End. I just go out there when I come in from school. I don't know, I might have been 6. No, not 6, but before going to preschool or something like that. But around.
What street were we on down in the West End?
Okay, now.
I remember all those.
It's a few, but then we was on Oliver Street.
I know Oliver's gone, right?
No, Oliver's still down there, but a lot of Oliver's still down.
You sure?
Yeah.
Wow. What about yours?
What?
Your first experience in the blues? Like what drove you to this?
What drove me to this?
Yeah,
I wasn't exactly driven. I didn't like blues at first. As a matter of fact, when I was playing top 40. I was a Donna Summer clone and all kinds of stuff. And I was convinced by the time I got to New England is where I started learning about blues actually.
In New England?
Yes, in New England. New Hampshire. It's funny for a black girl, ain't it?
It is.
But that's where I learned.
What about you? Am I conducting this interview? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yay!
All right. Got enough?
Sure, you're.
So we were talking about like where we all grew up. Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Kansas City, Chicago, in northern Wisconsin, and back to Chicago. By the time I knew better.
So where did you first learn of the blues, and where were you touched by it?
When I was very young, I lived in Chicago and wasn't aware of nothing. And then when I moved to northern Wisconsin, my family went up there. And I was very young, but there was still a thing called radio. And I'd hear the stuff. What the hell is that?
There you go.
I'd say, what the hell is that sound? Well, I didn't know what it was, but I sure attached to it, and I sure felt it, and that's way back. But you know, years later, I found out, yeah, that was Jimmy Reed, that was Muddy Waters, that was Howlin' Wolf, and even some of the Delta Cats, you know.
But how did that affect you to the point that you thought, I got to do this?
Well, because
I got to be in this.
Because once I was, I was also in the 5-string banjo and cowboy guitar. You know, I mean, one you don't have to plug in. So I was learning how to play that kind of stuff from, I guess, you know, in the early '60s was a big folk thing and all that kind of stuff. And Dave Van Ronk, Eric Von Schmidt, and those kind of people, and Manslinsky.
Right.
Help me with my slide, please. Mississippi Fred McDowell and all those cats, you know. And I was beginning to realize, you know, that thing I heard, that was Muddy Waters, you know. And I'd go out to seek these records, but in the meantime, I was playing, you know, rock and roll band, you know. At 63, 64, 65, playing playing Beatles songs and whatever was on the radio, Rolling Stone stuff and all that stuff coming up. But I wanted to play blues, man. You know, so we played the bluesier sides of those bands just to stay working.
Sure, sure.
Till I finally just said, I ain't gonna play this crap no more. I want to play blues, man. You know? And that's what I've done ever since.
So Keith, you grew up in the West End, and so you're a young kid in the West End. How'd you learn to play guitar? How'd you learn to play bass?
There's a gentleman, I never knew his last name, but first name was Willie. Like I said, I was coming in from school, made sure I went home and did homework or something like that, and I would go, especially when school was out, I would go and he would try to teach me up until 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock he quit regardless. We'd sit out on the stoop, we had a little porch on the steps, I guess you would say. And he would try to show me something. I said, I'll never learn that. And he said, yes, you will. So he
kind of like I'm doing now. I'm taking guitar lessons.
Okay, yes. And then he sat out there and he showed me something and he gave it to me. Arms can't reach around it. I put the fingers around it.
I can't do it. I can't do it at all.
So yeah, he set up and spent time to do that, and which is I thought it was very exciting. I said, well, when he first learned me a few strokes or something like that, I thought I was raising hell.
So where was your first appearance that you said, I'm a musician, I can do this thing?
Well, I said that before you made the first appearance.
Oh yeah, no, I can talk about that.
Yeah, you know, when the mama, you know, we get you a guitar and get the brother the drum, we bang around the house and music starts sounding better.
But where'd you appear first, like outside of the family?
Outside is, I guess it would be in school.
What school did you go to?
I went to Sawyer back then. I guess when we did some talent shows, and also some of the
Now where was Sawyer?
Sawyer's over in Evanston.
Yeah. It's outside the West End. So you went from the West End over to Sawyer to go to school?
Well, now we kind of moved around a little bit because it was just more than that. But that's where we finally ended up when I started doing something. There's another club called the Bonnevilla that we used to go out and do.
That's in Evanston.
That was in
right?
That was in Kennedy Heights. It was.
Oh yeah, that's where Mr. Kelly's
Mr. Kelly's after that,
right?
It was after that, Mr. Kelly's, right?
Bonnevilla. So you appeared there first?
Well, no, that was after the high school thing. We did church and did high school, and then started getting out playing for $5. We did. That was my first $5 gig.
Man, you got $5?
I got $5, man. I was raising hell.
So what was your first gig? What was your first gig?